Hey everyone. So I've never really done any of this vlogging stuff, mainly because I thought, why the hell would anyone want to care about me just talking into a camera? And I don't really want to tell you about my day or what I've been up to. So I've kind of stayed away from that. And I also don't like to plan what I say before I sit in front of a camera. So I hope that's okay with you. But why I decided to break that pattern was I wanted to come out with something real. I talk a lot about happiness, and people think of me as being this incredibly happy and grateful and amazing person. Every time you ask me how I'm doing, I'm just like, I'm incredible, it's the best day of my life. And that freaks a lot of people out, and they think it's fake, and they think it's a little bit too much. And it makes a lot of people question, how can you be so happy all the time? And it also gives people the false impression as if happiness, the kind of happiness that I'm talking about, the core, the inner happiness, which I actually translate into gratitude, that's a constant thing, or that's what we should all strive for. But it's not like that, and I don't believe that at all. I believe that everything is a very, it's a perfect balance between happiness and sadness, joy and pain. They go hand in hand, and they're absolutely not separate. And a lot of you guys don't know anything about me. So I wanted to change that today and tell you about the moments in my life that have made me the person that I am today, that have made me this happy and grateful and joyous person, is because I've been through a lot of pain. I've been through a lot of bullshit and situations that when I was in them were hard, and where I thought, this isn't fair, this sucks. And all I ever wanted was to be like the other kids that had normal families and, grew up going to the movies and having their birthdays at McDonald's. But I wasn't that kid. I was the kid that went to 15 different schools, grew up speaking English, German, and Spanish, never really knew one language really well, and was always kind of awkward because I never fit in anywhere. I don't have a culture. If you ask me where I'm from, I don't know. Sometimes I'm Dominican, sometimes I'm American, sometimes I'm German, sometimes I'm even Russian, and sometimes I'm Irish or Australian or Spanish. There's so many different cultures in me that I don't even know. But yeah, so when I was a little kid growing up in Miami, I was sexually molested. That was the first time when I was 5. And there's sort of distant memories, but it was actually our sort of male nanny, who was a policeman. So he was seen to take care of us as kids, and he would bring us, to the movies, and he would molest us as children, And that came with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. And I, as a kid, I didn't know what to do with that. I trusted, older people and parents and guardians to take care of me. That's what I thought. So I always thought there was something wrong with me. And it happened again when I was 11 and living in the Dominican Republic. And that again was, came with a lot of shame and guilt, because I thought it was my fault. I thought I'd done something as a kid that I sort of, that I deserved this. And I was faced with a decision then after that, when I came into my adolescence life and, started, coming across things like sex and, guys asking me to do stuff to them. And I was first like, whoa, wait a second. These things happened to me as a kid. I'm fucked up. So now I'm just going to take that with me. I'm going to take that pain and that suffering and stuff that happened to me as a kid, and I'm going to bring that into my adulthood and just always take that as an excuse, like, oh no, sorry, I can't do that, I was molested. And somehow, miraculously, I made the decision to not let that affect me and to take it as something to be grateful for instead of something to be mad and sad about. And that might sound weird to you, but I'm grateful to it because it let me connect to other women that had happened to on a completely different level. I suddenly wasn't giving sympathy, I was saying, you know what, I get it. That sucks. And that hurts and it's disgusting. But it's happened to me and I'm okay. I'm okay with it. It's fine. It makes us who we are. And I have memories of my mom like beating down at me when I was like 13 years old and like dragging me out of my best friend's restaurant, you know, by the scruff of my neck and punching me and throwing my backpack on the floor, you know, screaming at me in front of everyone just because I didn't come home half an hour ago. And I was like, I had house arrest all the time. I wasn't allowed to go out and play like the other kids, and I wasn't allowed to go to parties, and if I wanted to go to a party I had to read 30 pages of a physics book and my mom would question me. And I moved out when I was 16 and I had nothing. I had no support. I got the 150 euros, thank you Germany, that the government pays to you when you move out. And then I got 150 euros from my dad, child support that he had to pay to my mom because they were divorced. So that's what I had going for me, a month. At 16 years old, I moved out of home to a different country, to Salzburg, which is freaking expensive by the way. And 150 went to rent, so I had 150 euros to live with, to buy clothes, food, my bus pass to work, my bus pass to school, and yeah, and I struggled. I never had anything. I lived from one month to the next, and I was the outsider at school. Everyone hated me. They were just like, you're fucking weird. And it was hard so often because I struggled. I went to 15 different schools. Like by the time in between I went to university as well when I was 16. And by the time I was applying to get into high school, my last grades were from 7th grade. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to finish high school. And yet I still did, and I hustled. I carried on, and I didn't give up. And yeah, I had my first court case when I was 17. I was doing this little job where I was handing out newspaper, and this old lady, she tripped over this little cart that I was pulling behind me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and you know, I was helping her, and you know, her husband was there, and he's like, oh, don't worry, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, and I gave him my details. I'm like, oh, if there's anything I can do, you know, let me know. And a few weeks later, I had a letter from an attorney for a lawsuit of 70,000 euros. Imagine like living alone and having to deal with that bullshit when you're a teenager, and going to court and just being like, I don't know what's going on, I didn't do anything. And I actually did get sued. And thankfully, I had insurance, and they, you know, the couple were saying to me, they're like, oh, well, you're insured, so it doesn't matter. But I still had to deal with that for 3 years, and yeah, my visa to Australia then was denied because of that. And I wrote to the Australian embassy in Berlin, and I was like, listen, this is my dream, this is what I wanted to do, and I kind of told them my story, and 3 days later they wrote to me and said that they'd granted me the visa to Australia due to, and I quote, good character. And so this is not me talking about and trying to be sorry for myself, but I'm trying to tell you a little bit about the lives of people, and that we all go through shit, and we all struggle, and we all have our different battles that we're fighting. But in the end, that's the stuff that shapes us. And that's the stuff that I am grateful for. I'm grateful for every single one of those memories, and I wouldn't take them back for the world because they make me the person that I am today. And that's why I feel gratitude. I feel like happiness is being grateful for just getting to live another day, for getting to breathe another fresh breath of air in your lungs. And that's where I get my passion from. And that's why I'm so excited all the time. And that's why when you ask me how are you doing, I'll be like, I'm fucking amazing. Because I am, because I'm happy to be here. And I struggled through all of that. And a lot of those things, I had people helping me, randoms. Like in high school, all of a sudden I got an envelope with 50 euros in it and a card from a teacher that said, I heard that you're living alone. I hope this helps. You know? And it fucking did. And so many people came up to me and supported me. And, I mean, how could I not be grateful? You know? A lot of those things I did do by myself, and a lot of people came in my aid when I needed it. And that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm all about happiness and people and sharing, because others were there for me when I needed help. And I want to give that back. I want to help back in any way that I can. If it's posting a stupid video of me and my goats, or it's actually going up to people and hugging them on the street, or paying for the person behind me in the coffee line, or, you know, chatting up a homeless person and taking them out and talking to them about life and having them sing songs for me. That's the kind of stuff I love. And people might think that's crazy, but I think the way that we're living, the way we ignore each other, the awkward silences in elevators, the way we hardly make eye contact, to me, that's crazy. That's a crazy reality. Turning over to the person next to you, saying hi, and giving them a compliment, that for me is life. That's the society that I want to be a part of. So this is my raw, unfiltered confessions, completely unedited, unscripted. I just kind of said what came to my mind. And I hope that we can do this a little bit more and just be honest. What I don't understand is, and what I don't like to conform to, is how we've, from an early age, taught each other secrecy. And already when I hear that line, oh, but don't tell this person, or don't tell them, what have we come to? Is this really, you know, we're so afraid and we're so disgusted by who we are and that we have to hide, and that we've created a system where we have to hide? At work, you know, in school, in front of our friends, hide our feelings. Oh, I'm gonna pretend I don't like you just so that you think I'm cooler. So I hope this makes a little bit of an impact, and next time that you don't want to say something because you're afraid or you think other people might judge you, that you just go out and say it. Because that's the stuff that I really respect. Those are the stories that I want to hear. I want to know about your vulnerabilities and not only your strengths. Alright everyone, this has been Ginicanbreathe, and I hope you have a fucking amazing day, because it's another day that we get to live.